Astra is a brand new science fiction film directed by James Gray, produced by Brad Pitt, who also stars in the film. If you don't know who James Gray is, I would suggest you look up The Lost City of Z. If you haven't seen The Lost City of Z, then get the fuck out of here, get off this channel, come back when you found some standards. Of course, I am joking, I would never ever actually say that, but seriously, go watch The Lost City of Z. The film also stars Liv Tyler, sort of, and it stars Donald Sutherland, it stars Ruth Negga, it stars Tommy Lee Jones. This story focuses on Brad Pitt. Brad Pitt is an astronaut, a very good astronaut who's been working for this space program called SpaceCom for a number of years. His father was also an astronaut, and a few decades earlier, his father disappeared while off on a mission to discover intelligent life throughout the universe. And one day, Brad Pitt's character is recruited by SpaceCom to go out and send a message to his father because his father may have been working on something that might put the entire solar system in jeopardy. So this film is about a son trying to reach out to his father in more ways than one. He's trying to reconnect to the father that he lost decades ago, while also trying to get in touch with him, get a message to him to potentially save the rest of the human race. Everybody knows how much I love sci-fi, so it shouldn't come as that big of a surprise when I tell you that I did love this movie, and I am going to break down why I love this movie. But before I break down why I love this movie so much, I am going to caution you. This movie is not for everybody. It's not made for everybody, and that's perfectly okay. It's been described as a slow burn. I wouldn't necessarily call it a slow burn. I would say it's very deliberate in its pacing, because this is not necessarily a space epic. This is actually an art house film that is masquerading as a space epic. Granted, there are still some epic things that happen during its runtime. Overall, this is a film that's much more interested in introspection and reflection and character study, more than it is about the awesomeness about traveling to space. So if you're not into some of those deliberately slow-paced type of movies, if you're not into art house, well, then you're probably not gonna like it. This is a film I was very much looking forward to, and I would say that for the most part, it delivered on everything that I wanted it to deliver on. Hands down, one of the best made films of 2019. James Gray was in his bag on this movie. Like, he was in his whole bag on this one. Whatever the boxes that you want checked off in terms of filmmaking, this film has it. If you want great cinematography, check. If you want great editing, check. If you want great musical score, check. If you want great color grading, if you want great visual effects, if you want great sound mixing, if you want great sound editing, like pretty much anything that involves the technical aspects of filmmaking, this film doesn't check the box, it obliterates the box. This is a beautiful looking movie that I would say is probably the best looking film I've seen since Blade Runner 2049. That's high praise for me, because you guys know how much I love Blade Runner 2049, but this is probably the best looking movie, especially the best looking space-based movie that I've seen since that movie. Which is weird, because Blade Runner 2049 isn't really a space-based movie, but you know, same, you guys know what I'm trying to say. This is a film that definitely does explore the relationship between a father and son, and so you do have those themes of parenting. The movie also obviously is about humanity, and more importantly, the connection that we as human beings should have to the rest of humanity. This movie deals with themes of loneliness and isolation, ambition, all of that stuff, all through the lens of space travel and space exploration. We've all obviously wondered about, is there intelligent life out there, and are there extraterrestrials? Are we going to be able to meet some someday? I mean, obviously that's a question that's been at the forefront of a lot of sci-fi movies. The movie not only explores it from that angle, it also explores it from a more grounded, emotional angle, which is, what if there actually aren't any aliens out there? What if we are by ourselves in the universe? And if that's the case, does that mean we need to have a closer connection to the people that are connected to us, to humanity in general? This movie tackles those themes, does it with beautiful cinematography, and does it with a great musical score that I was enthralled with. This is definitely one of my favorite musical scores. I think it's composed by Max Richter. Euphoric, emotional, and powerful when it needed to be. It was very haunting, very melancholic. Whenever a scene needed to be elevated by the music, this guy definitely snapped. And I'm not talking about the big purple guy on Infinity War snapping. He snapped all over the soundtrack. Let's talk about Brad Pitt real quick. Brad Pitt is pretty much the entire basis around which the premise of the movie is built. He has to carry a lot of this movie by himself. His character is very complicated, and it doesn't seem like it at first glance. This is a man that is extremely cool under pressure. His heartbeat doesn't change no matter what kind of situation he's in. This is the calm before the storm type of person. At the same time, there's also a simmering emotion that's like right beneath the surface of his character. A role that requires Brad Pitt to do a lot of acting with his face, a lot of acting with his eyes. He's a character that doesn't say a lot. You could definitely say, okay, this seems like a role that's perfect for Ryan Gosling, but I would say that it's a role that's perfect for Brad Pitt because Brad Pitt was perfect in the role. Absolutely one of the best performances of 2019, and I do believe he deserves Oscar praise for this. The reason why I love sci-fi so much is because of films like this. Unbelievable cinematography and visuals. This movie is not eggs on a tit. This movie is not omelet titties. At this point, I'm starting to think it's just a breakfast full of breasts. Seriously, just pick out what you want. You want some bacon, you want some sausage, you want some grits, you want some biscuits, you want some pancakes, whatever you want. This movie's gonna serve it to you, and it's gonna serve it to you the right way. Really have a couple of nitpicks with this movie, one of which is, okay, there is a lot of voiceover in the movie. Because of how stoic and restrained Brad Pitt's character is, it makes sense for there to be voiceover. It's a very nuanced performance from Brad Pitt, and it's a very introspective and reflective thing, and I thought it added to his characterization overall. There are a couple of parts where I thought it was a little unnecessary though. The voiceover is something that people are going to be divided on. Some people are going to be on board with it, other people aren't going to be on board with it. The nitpick I have is about the supporting characters. I think all the performances in the movie are terrific, and a lot of the actors do the best they can in the short time that they're given. I do wish there had been a little bit more closure with some of these characters, because some of these characters do have some interesting story beats. It's a small thing because, again, the point of the movie is Brad Pitt and this emotional character journey. I would say my biggest issue with the film is actually the literal ending of the film. I'm not going to spoil it, but again, in terms of closure, I wish there had been a little bit more in terms of consequence. Everything at the end of the film just kind of ties up in a way that it was a little bit too neat for me. A couple of scenes that feel a little bit unrealistic, but other than that, I was enthralled for almost every single frame of this movie. It absolutely lived up to the hype. An introspective and reflective, meditative, thought-provoking movie about our relationship with humanity, about the connections that tie us to each other. I can't give this movie any higher grade than the grade I'm about to give it. Ad Astra, or Brad Astra as I'm going to be calling it from now on, deserves the highest ranking on this channel, Superman Prime. Guys, those are my thoughts on Ad Astra. Tell me, have you seen it? What did you think about it? What is your favorite sci-fi film for 2019 so far? Put that in the comment section below. Like and subscribe to the Superfan Show, and as always, if you like what you see, tell me how you feel, and stay tuned to hear more from the Man of Steel. Peace.